Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together here on Facebook Live every morning at 10:30, where we exchange and share news, stories, headlines, tips, suggestions on how to have a better life here in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking community. If you are new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and we'd love to find out that you're new, and you can do that by writing the word new in your comment, and that way we'll give you a proper welcome. And also, if you have important questions or comments that you wish to have addressed during the show by me or by Luna, who is my co-pilot. Luna, of course, is right now very, very busy taking notes of everything that's going on. Right, Luna? Oh, yes, there she is. And so that's what we do. We get together and we take notes on what's important to you. We try to answer questions for which we have answers, and those that we don't, sometimes we're able to research, sometimes not, and that's just the way it goes. As always, it's great to see people that are always here and friends from all over the place. It is always wonderful to greet you. I got a great message from someone who was watching us from Melbourne yesterday. And everybody brace yourselves because Janet Scott will be here on Tuesday. Janet, I wish you a safe trip as you're coming to Puerto Vallarta. And Bill is in Palm Springs. Liz is in Whitby, Ontario. You guys are all over the place, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Quite the country. I am going to get going with everything that we have, because today we have so many wonderful news and commentary on all kinds of things. I'm sorry to hear about the wildfires in Portland, Michael. I have heard about this, and I have a friend whose uncle is going to have to evacuate sometime in the very near future. How very unfortunate. I hope everybody is safe. Michael asks, is Luna as tired as I am this morning? Why would Michael Beaufort be tired? I will answer that question in a second. But first, no, actually, screw that. I'm going to answer that question right away, because Michael is probably tired because he opened his second Siam cuisine yesterday. And I must say that I must be such a good fan, because I was the first person to arrive for the first meal ever served at the new Siam cuisine, 5 minutes away from my house. 5 minutes it took me to walk there. Do you want to see what it looks like? Check this out. So there goes my waistline, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes away, the best pad thai, all these wonderful dishes, the same menu as the Siam cuisine we already know and love in Emiliano Zapata. I wish you the best of luck with this new venture, Michael. I know that I'm going to be there on a regular basis. And in fact, I got there walking. I got there by walking through a wonderful residential neighborhood, and I'm going to video my walk next time I go because it is just great. And it is fresh. It is open to the public, but there's a lot of fans. I mean, it's open to the public. It's open air. It has a ceiling, obviously, but it's open air. But it has ceiling fans to keep you all refreshed, and it has an air-conditioned unit that I'm sure Michael will turn for those days that are absolutely hot. Highly recommended. Great experience. Anyhow, as I was saying, we have a lot of news to cover, and most news come attached to wonderful, insightful commentary. So we might as well get started. There's a lot to go through today. For starters, it would seem that Hugo López-Gatell continues along his crusade to make Mexico a healthier country. He is now, he has stated that he's going to propose increasing the taxes for tobacco and cigarette smoking, or rather cigarettes. According to him, the country, Mexico, spends 80,000 million pesos. Is that a number? 80,000 million pesos in taking care of disease related to tobacco, and 52,000 people die every year in Mexico due to tobacco-related diseases. That would be 141 people per day. So this is, again, part of his initiative of eliminating junk food, and now he's going to try to address tobacco smoking. Good for him. AstraZeneca, who reported that they put their vaccine trials in pause because of an adverse reaction. Apparently, the director, Pascal Soireau, considered that they're going to continue forward with the research, and they still think they will have a vaccine available by year's end. So this is something that we're excited about, and we'll keep an eye on moving forward. Noticias PV reports on how the work going on in remodeling the laterals in Francisco Medina Asensio is bringing headaches to a bunch of bus drivers and car drivers, and particularly those that have to supply businesses along the avenue with goods and products. Well, you know, this has to happen at one point or another. So if this is bringing headaches, all we have to do is try to be patient and realize that when this is over, we're going to have a much better system of lateral roads that is going to include better sidewalks and bicycle lanes for people to enjoy. If you have any plans to go golfing in Marina Vallarta, and you were concerned about this ginormous 2-meter long crocodile that was out and about, apparently he has been caught and he has been removed from Marina Vallarta, but not before sauntering around the streets of Marina Vallarta. Apparently some neighbors started feeling concerned about the fact that they saw this giant crocodile just wandering around on the streets of Nueva Vallarta. We have to remember that these creatures tend to leave their habitats during the rainy season because they're very territorial, and they look for other places to claim territory. So watch out, golfers. Watch out if you choose to do this. We also learned today that Christopher Landau, who's the U.S. ambassador here in Mexico, has been nominated to join the Supreme Court in the United States, so he may leave us as an ambassador. We know that he recently went shopping for Mexican trinkets to decorate his home for Independence Day. So maybe it's a good idea for Mr. Landau to keep his COVID-19 piñata hidden. He might ruffle some feathers up north. We also reported recently that Some movie theaters in Mexico City are making it possible for you to rent the entire hall so that you can enjoy a show with your friends only. And apparently, Guadalajara City is joining on this initiative. There are several movie theaters in Guadalajara that also belong to Cinemex, where you can now rent the whole theater to go to the movies with your friends if that makes you feel more safe and at ease as far as COVID-19 goes. So maybe or not, this initiative will come to Puerto Vallarta, and maybe the way to go will be to rent the whole theater to enjoy it with your friends. By the way, I had said that my friend Logan and I were going to go watch Tenet today, but it turns out that it won't be screened until next week. So we'll go watch Tenet, and we will let you know how it went and whether the theater felt comfortable or not. Before I move on, let me take a quick look for specific questions you may have. Ba-dum-bum-bum. And yes, Luna's notes contain a lot of Z's. No, she's actually gone now. She's patrolling the house. She just likes to spend some time here with me, and then she realizes she's done her duty as a co-anchor, and then she goes away. I keep hearing about the skies in California. What a crazy, unfortunate situation. I hope it can be controlled. I really, really do. Sean comments on language that I don't understand because I don't play golf, but he says that the crocodile is a 6 handicap good golfer. That's wonderful, I suppose. Again, I am an ignoramus when it comes to playing golf. The next bit of news is interesting, troublesome, and sad at the same time. Apparently, there is a neighborhood in Mexico City called La Condesa, where some trees were removed because they were falling down on cars and causing damage. So the residents had some trees removed, and this seems to have irked or ruffled the feathers of an Argentinian couple that went on to call some of the people in these buildings names. And it was a very horrible situation caught on video. This is an Argentinian woman went ahead and called a woman that was holding the camera a horrible Indian. That is just a horrible thing to call someone, and I'll get into this in a second. The neighborhood association released a huge statement making to the effect that this was violence. It was gender violence, and it pronounced itself against the discrimination and so forth and so on. And yes, there is a whole video that you can watch, and it's just sad and horrible, and it certainly irks my own feathers. But it's an interesting thing. I mean, if you think about our heritage, we are Indians. Mexicans are Indians, and then came the Spaniards, and then we became a mixture of many, many, many races. And I don't know that there's any country in the world that doesn't have such a mixture. Theoretically, we should feel proud of our Indian heritage. In reality, a lot of us, to call someone an Indian in Mexico is extremely offensive. So I share this in case you decide to insult someone. Don't do that. Don't do that. This particular Argentinian couple is probably going to be identified. They're going to become lords and ladies, and their life will become miserable as a result of having used those names in a foreign land. And, you know, these things happen, and it's horrible. Vidanta abandons the Mayan train, according to this headline. Apparently, the owner of the hotel chain, Daniel Chavez, was present when President Andrés Manuel López Obrador launched all the work in starting the construction of this Mayan train. This was with hopes that Vidanta would be one of the large investors in this new project, and apparently they are not going to invest in the project. I don't know that this is good or bad, but it was an interesting headline given the fact that by reading this, I realize now the enormous investment power that a company like Vidanta has. We know that locally they're continuing to build their huge development just north of the border between the state of Jalisco and the state of Nayarit. And as I understand it, they have now launched their funicular or some kind of flying chingadera that I've seen the construction going on as you go through the highway. And this is going to allow guests and visitors, I suppose, to get from one point to another from a vantage point. I don't know that this will ever be open to the public. Terry says, Vedanta started a project, then bailed out. Shocking. I love your sense of humor. Ha ha ha. Let's see. Let me pause for a long question. In Mexico, whenever my wife is waiting in line in the grocery store or any other place, there's a line with people waiting. People always try to move us to the front of the line. Is this common? Well, I think it is common. I think there is a fair amount of empathy out there. I don't know that I dare to generalize, but I do feel that there is a fair amount of empathy out there for people that that offer this kind of assistance to people that are challenged in any way or another. But it is an interesting commentary, and if it's not common for people to do that in the United States, from an outsider, I would just think that is unfortunate. Let me pause here to offer a commentary on the things that we choose to showcase here on Coffee and Headlines and not. Coffee and Headlines, as you know, is a project that has to do with locals. This has been really important to me from the very get-go of the project. And we've always banked on the fact that there are certain features and wonderful things that happen in our destination that are geared towards tourists. And that's great because there's a lot of places for tourists to find information about things that are for them. Not so many places in town that cater to us locals. Well, recently, we featured a new hotel that is going to be opening right in front of Encanto on Insurgentes. This is Hotel Cuales. And I went and took a look, and I didn't show any photographs because it was a really hot day. I've had a conversation with the owner who invited me to tour this facility, which is going to be built on a historic building here in town. And the project is going to include a co-work space, and it's going to include a restaurant and a coffee shop and a wine bar and all kinds of amenities for us, the general public, to enjoy. So even though it's a hotel for guests and visitors, it also has a component for locals. So I figured, okay, this is interesting, it's historic, and it has value for us locals. So two of the things that I always look at when I choose, or when Luna chooses content for Coffee and Headlines, is number one, is there a good story behind it? And number two, is it for us? Is it for us locals to enjoy? If it's not for us locals to enjoy, I don't tend to think of it as important. But then there's also this fact, and I was just reminded of the fact that as locals, it is also our duty and perhaps responsibility to offer good suggestions to our visiting friends and family when they come here. So this comes to light because I was invited to tour another building that is a hotel, but it's also a condo. And rather than giving it a specific label, this is, let me show you the website. This is Quale, which is a new building that has been remodeled in the neighborhood, and it features a beautiful rooftop pool. And I checked with some of my advisors about this building because what they wanted was for me to go and tour it and give a review, and giving reviews is not something that we do. And my first reaction about the project was, well, if the pool and the bar are not open to the public, which I found out they're not, and they have a small number of units, and they're catering mostly to the people that are staying there, then my first reaction was, well, why would we want to talk about it here if we cannot go and enjoy it ourselves? But then I checked with a few of my advisors, or rather Luna's advisors, and they don't even know they're my advisors. But I checked around and I heard that the people behind this project are very responsible and that have built the project trying to rescue the integrity of the building that they took over. And they used a lot of local people to rebuild it, and they rescued as much as they could of the structure to keep the project as Mexican and as local feeling as possible. It is under that spirit that I do choose to share this with you. The location is in Emiliano Zapata, and I see some photographs of the appointments that they haven't said. Apparently they have a beauty place in the lobby where you can go and get done. And by looking at the way it's been decorated, it looks like beautiful Mexican modern in the middle of a Mexican neighborhood. And what's beautiful is I've had a couple of really nurturing conversations with the owner, and it's just nice to see that these kinds of options are available. Now, of course, these kinds of options also open a can of worms between traditional hotels and buildings that may operate as hotels but are condos, or may operate as condos but they are hotels. Again, it's not my place to police that. What is my primary responsibility here is to be the best Ernestine I can be. And by Ernestine, I mean, do you remember Ernestine? Ernestine is, where is Ernestine? Here she is. Ernestine is this opinionated switchboard operator. Yes, she is biased. Yes, she is opinionated. But her main responsibility is to create connections between people. And that's what we try to do here at Coffee and Headlines. This whole well, not a situation, but this whole issue of whether we feature a building like Quale or not makes me realize that it's been a long time since we've done a big survey of what kind of content is most important to you and what kind of content you really don't care much about. And the bottom line for me is that ultimately you are the sponsors of this show. You get to help me determine what you want to hear about and what you don't want to hear about. And so I just wanted to put that out there. I am looking forward to meeting the developer of this building, the Quale building. And hang on, I see that my main camera has frozen. I was halfway concerned that this would happen because I noticed that I did not charge my camera before we got started, and by the time I realized I had to charge my camera, it was too late to do it. So I'm going to have to use my shitty camera for the rest of the broadcast. I apologize for that. This camera doesn't have as good color as the other one. So there you go. You don't want to see me frozen with a in my face. Anyhow, as I was saying, I am very much looking forward to meeting the developer of this building and seeing if indeed they rescued as much as possible on the Mexican integrity of it. And I see a nice comment. Thank you very much, Dale. This is good to know. And it is Jacob that I've been having a very interesting conversation with. If we hear, oh, great, another great comment. Thank you very much, Kathleen. See, this makes me excited about this, and it's good to know that there are locals endorsing these buildings. And Sherry brings up an important point as well. Maybe a staycation, and you're absolutely right. We're looking for comfortable places to go and enjoy, and again, it is nice to be able to create those kinds of connections. Angelica brings up an important point as well. It is sad that we lose some of the traditional architecture in some of the new projects that we see. So we do lose the essence of Mexico in a certain way. So again, I will share the Quale information with you on the headlines, and we'll keep our eye open for the kinds of things that we want to hear about or we don't want to hear about here at Coffee and Headlines. And I always welcome your input to that effect. This is a perfect moment to cue the weather. And of course, the weather is still showing my frozen image. Let me get rid of myself from the weather because we actually don't need to look at me. There you go. The weather is 27 degrees right now, feels like 32 Fahrenheit. It's 81 degrees. There is 95% humidity right now and a 14% chance of rain. The weather forecast tells us that we will feature rain and humidity through the day. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll have rain until morning, starting again in the evening. And Saturday, we can expect rain in the evening and overnight. I see a big double Q question from Jeannie. Can you please share with us what is happening up in the northern part of the country? I'm seeing photos on social media of protests and National Guard. I know it is not PV, but it is our country. Jeannie, I will try my damnedest to see what's going on in the northern part of the country. Again, our main focus here is Puerto Vallarta and our lives in Puerto Vallarta. But if you can be a little bit more specific as to what part of the northern part of the country, it's a huge border, you are referring to, by all means, please let me know, and I'll try my damnedest to keep my eyes open for whatever it might be that you are referring to. We start with our leisurely stuff by sharing something that I thought, oh, fuck this, I'm not going to talk about it, but I guess I am going to talk about it. A few days ago, some fancy protests for the missing women and children. Let me keep my eyes open on this. China, again, if it's not happening in Puerto Vallarta, I'm not paying much attention to it, as much attention to it as I'm paying attention to local things, but I'll keep my eyes open. Hopefully I will have a report for tomorrow. Back to some of the leisurely stuff. Some lady was caught in a shopping center, swanky shopping center in Mexico City, parading her pet tiger. Yes, a pet tiger with a leash and everything. Well, the Environmental Protection Agency, let me get rid of me here too. We don't want to see me frozen. The Environmental Protection Agency is now trying to find out who these people are, because obviously this is against the law. You are not supposed to have a pet tiger, period. So we'll keep an eye on this one because I just thought it was absolutely funny. We have talked about the Chepe, the Copper Canyon train in the past, and we are happy to report that the Chepe is back in operation. There's this big article, and now it is possible for us to enjoy this vacation. And I'm going to leave the headline with you, the link, so that we can see what the new guidelines are for the Copper Canyon train. The Philharmonic Orchestra, the Jalisco Philharmonic Orchestra, is resuming rehearsals. This makes me particularly happy because I am a frequent traveler to Guadalajara City to enjoy the Philharmonic perform. So I am going to be keeping an eye open on this and keeping an eye on whether they're going to continue to broadcast concerts live, or if we are going to be able to actually attend the performances. I'm going to pause here because I see that it is quite a few, well, not quite a few, but several of you are commenting on what's going on elsewhere in Mexico. Again, please let me know how important this is to you, for us to start branching out more heavily into headlines from other parts of Mexico. It's a time-consuming task, but let me know how important these things are to you. And again, sometime in the near future, we will be releasing a survey just to get a clearer idea of what kind of news are ultimately most important to you. Now, moving on, I was happy to see that there's a trailer out for the new Dune movie directed by Denis Villeneuve. And I totally messed up his last name, I am sure. But I'm going to share the link with you because it looks really, really interesting. And now I want to move on to... Yes, I am ready to move on to... Yes. Where is my little thing? There is my little thing. Boom. We are in that part of the program in which we talk about uh, in which we talk about important Mexican things or important Mexican heroes. And today I don't have a specific segment prepared, but I do want to highlight a couple of Mexican cultural ambassadors that we may not be aware of. And this whole thing got started with the fact that Mexican filmmaker Carlos Lopez Estrada's imagination is thriving in a new Disney movie. We find out that this young new director becomes the first Mexican director to be at the helm of a Disney. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. I had to stop for a big cough. Oh my goodness. That was a big one. I didn't think I would be able to get to my mute. Lined by Carmen Maura, and it is directed by the young new Mexican director whose name I is not even showing up and I am forgetting. Oh yeah, his name is Manolo Caro. And Manolo Caro is a talks about a guy that comes home with his Mexican ballerino boyfriend, and who performs the role of the ballerino boyfriend? None other than the wonderful, the spectacular. Okay, my bad, my bad. So where did you lose me? I don't know why my sound keeps copying off, keeps cutting off. My apologies. I was telling you about this headline in which we're talking about this Netflix show that is going to feature a male Mexican ballerino. And so that's when my audio is going out. That's very strange. Let me do a quick experiment here. Huh. This is very strange. I think I solved the problem. I hope I solved the problem. Anyhow, this is not good because then let me see. Did you hear about this? You heard about this, right? You heard me talk about this. Okay. Yes, it is time for a cerveza. Says Jeannie. My apologies. Again, the last thing that I was talking about is Someone Has to Die. This new miniseries coming to Netflix that is going to be directed by Manolo Caro, featuring Isaac Hernandez, who is an extraordinary male dancer. He is one of the principal dancers in the English ballet, and I think I'm getting this out now. Yay! And I'm very sorry about that. I'm very sorry that I fluffed the audio today, and obviously I need to feed my camera's batteries so that we can continue with our shows in the future. And yes, you are right. It is tequila time, and I'll make sure to get some tequila now. Anyhow, this was our slightly flawed coffee and headlines for today. Apologies for the lack of audio here and there, and apologies for the bad camera in front of me. It's making me look like I really do need a tequila. Anyhow, this was Coffee and Headlines for today. The show notes will include a little clip of Ernestine that is very timely in these election times. The clips, the show notes will also include a beautiful ballet segment produced by Banamex about Isaac Hernandez, so that you can do you can better appreciate him. And in coming days, we will continue to feature other important Mexican ambassadors and more aspects of Mexican history as we get closer to our Independence Day celebrations, which take place on September 15 and 16. And of course, we will continue with more interesting facts and factoids about Mexican history and Mexican culture through the rest of the month. Between now and the next time we get together, please stay healthy, stay happy, stay sane, stay well fed, get some Thai cuisine food. It is absolutely wonderful. And thank you very much for spending some time with Luna and myself. And I will see you again soon.